Welcome to Exhibition Judges Clinic number 1. In this first video, we're going to be covering the responsibilities, requirements, and ethics of exhibition judging. This 3-video course is for those who are interested in learning more about exhibitions and exhibition judging for daylilies. We have taken the current Clinic 1 course and broken it into 3 videos that you can watch at your own pace to reinforce the concepts that you learn in the instructor-led clinics. At this time, these videos do not replace the instructor-led in-person clinics to receive credit on your path to becoming an accredited exhibition judge. In order to take this clinic for credit, there are a few prerequisites that we should go through and make sure that you meet this criteria before you continue on. First, it's your responsibility to download or otherwise obtain in printed form the AHS Daylily Exhibitions Handbook and become familiar with all of the chapters on exhibition judging. You can order a copy of this handbook already printed, or you can also download it for free. You can visit the AHS website, click on Exhibitions, and follow the path to download the handbook from there. Are you an AHS member in good standing, and have you maintained that membership for 24 consecutive months? Do you have a keen interest and knowledge of daylilies? And do you grow a wide variety of daylilies from many different hybridizing programs? If the answers to these questions are yes, you're on your way to becoming an AHS exhibitions judge. In this video, we're going to cover 2 topics, the responsibilities and requirements of an exhibition judge, as well as ethics of judging. The other 2 videos in the series, the next one will cover judging standards, organization, rules, and accreditation. And the last video covers characteristics of daylilies. Now remember, these 3 videos follow the curriculum that is used in the instructor-led course of Clinic 1. It also follows the Judging Daylilies Handbook very closely. So we're starting with the responsibilities and requirements. And if you look on Chapter 1, page 10 of the AHS Exhibitions Handbook, you'll find the material that we're starting to cover in this section there. There are many responsibilities and requirements of an AHS exhibitions judge. Some of the more important ones that I would like to highlight in this video are as follows. First, the most paramount responsibility of an AHS exhibitions judge is to enhance and represent the image of the society and the integrity of the show process in all possible ways. It is the most important thing that you can do as an AHS judge is to portray the AHS in positive light as often as possible. We also expect AHS exhibitions judges to know, grow, and show typical cultivars that are new and old from all sizes, forms, subforms, colors, patterns, varieties that exist. We also expect AHS judges to continue their education. A judge's knowledge is never complete. It's a continual growing process. It does not stop with just the 3 clinics that are required. We hope that as years go by, as you're an exhibition judge, you attend as many clinics as possible, that you put on as many of these clinics, that you speak to local clubs, that you judge in as many shows as possible. You're studying advancements in hybridizing, writing articles for your local newsletters. This is all continuing your education. More responsibilities and requirements that we'd like to highlight. Again, attending and supporting clinics both inside and out of your home region, especially participating at national conventions. Sitting in a room with judges from most all regions in AHS, that is some of the most productive and interesting discussion about being an exhibition judge. We also hope that you'll promote daylilies and encourage youth to visit as many gardens as possible. This is private gardens, AHS display gardens, all types of places where daylilies are seen and used. If you're studying advancements in breeding and culture, that's going to help your judging acumen. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to be an active hybridizer. It just means that you're studying what's happening in the daily community. You're speaking to hybridizers, you're attending symposiums. We hope that you're sharing your skill and your experience with new judges and with the public. This involves speaking to those exhibitors after you're finished judging a show. This involves speaking to other judges in your region, writing articles about judging, writing articles about exhibiting. That concludes our section on responsibilities and requirements of AHS exhibition judges. The next section of this video will cover ethics of judging. If you're following along in the handbook, we're still in Chapter 1. Now we're looking at pages 10 through 12. A few concepts to reinforce. First is the word perception. You should always consider the perception of everyone involved in the show. AHS judges should not judge in any show, or for that matter in any class or any section of any show, if prior knowledge exists that could bring your impartiality into question. If your participation leaves exhibitors with the perception of undue influence, or it's so pervasive as to render you unable to participate fully, you should recuse yourself from judging that particular show. Now, that's a tough concept to gauge. It's not always black and white, and it surely is interpreted differently based on any individual involved in any questionable situation. The best guide I can give you is to just remember the word perception. If someone could perceive your actions or your behavior in a way that does not enhance the reputation of AHS, if someone's perception of your behavior causes that question, you should not be involved in judging in the show. Another ethical question to consider is whether you should fill in an emergency situation on show day, and what happens to your entries. If you have brought entries for that show and you have prepared them for exhibit, all of those entries that you have brought to the show must be re-tagged for display only. We do not encourage the practice of simply letting your entries stay in the show and then you just step back when it's your turn to judge an entry that might be yours. That goes back to bullet point number 1. That calls the perception of the situation into question. If you do that enough times throughout the show, simply step back and decide to not judge, the other members on your panel might wonder, oh, this must be their entry. They might not be able to judge it fully. They might not feel comfortable in that situation. So the best thing we can do is to not put someone in a situation that would make them uncomfortable. We'll re-tag our entries for display only if that emergency situation ever arises. More ethical points to consider. You should always accept your invitations when you are able, and you should respond promptly. You should never solicit judging invitations, no matter how subtle you may feel you're being. You should also never expect reimbursement. If we are not getting invitations from clubs to come judge their shows, each region has a regional exhibitions liaison in place to help judges find assignments in and outside of their region. There's also a bulletin board on the AHS portal where you can post that you're available for judging assignments, and where shows can also post that they're looking for judges. You should only judge accredited shows. This speaks to the integrity of our show process. If the show is accredited through the exhibitions chair, we know that they're following a specific set of rules. They've agreed to employ the AHS standard of points. If AHS judges are judging shows that do not follow this established protocol, we could be using our training in ways that it was not designed to function properly. You should be prepared to judge each show. And to prepare, you should ask for a copy of the show schedule in advance. You should refresh yourself on the content of the exhibition's handbook, especially the seedling sections, the new figures that have been imported into the handbook on judging distinction and judging seedling sections. You should look at the Ophelia Taylor requirements, the Achievement Medal requirements. You should refresh yourself on the Best in Show ballot. These are all duties that you're going to be asked to perform during your invitation as a judge of a show. So it's our responsibility for you to be properly prepared. To reinforce the point about judging your local club shows, you should not judge your local club show unless it is an emergency situation and unless you have prior approval from the AHS exhibitions chair. We do not want to call the question of perception into play, where local judges are judging their local club members. There is a high probability that local judges will know which daylilies grow in which local member's collection. They might know their local club member's handwriting. They might have been to their local club member's garden to remember particular seedlings that were in bloom. So again, in order to control the negative perception about our duties as an AHS judge, we will only judge local club shows in the event of an emergency and with the prior approval of the exhibition's chair. When you are an invited judge at a show, you should follow the show schedule and other published show instructions unless it directly conflicts with published AHS rules. Shows are able to operate in any way that the show chair feels appropriate unless the way that it's being run directly conflicts with published AHS rules. Not your feeling about how shows should be run, but we as judges should let the show chairs have as much creative freedom over their shows. Our authority ends at judging the sections we have been assigned to judge. We aren't there to comment about how classification should be run or about how they should have moved grooming outside because it would have made more sense or about why the timing was the way that it was. We'd ask that you please keep your opinions or your criticism to yourself unless it directly conflicts with AHS published rules. If you don't know a particular cultivar, you should absolutely let your panel mates know this, and you should look to them for assistance. There are almost 80,000 registered varieties of daylilies, and there's absolutely no way that as show judges with our otherwise busy lives that we would know all of those cultivars. It's perfectly okay to say, I'm not familiar with this one. Jane, have you seen it before? Along that same line, you should be tactful and respectful of others. It is about sharing a space with other judges who have been through the same training that you have, who are seeking basically the same goals for AHS accredited shows to be successful and a fun event for everyone involved. So when asserting your opinion, when asserting your experience, please remember to be tactful and respectful of others, not only judges, but visitors, exhibitors, hybridizers, club members. In all of our activities as AHS judges, we should be fair, honest, impartial, and avoid pettiness. We should always behave with dignity, and we should speak directly with others. These last 3 bullet points, they definitely go hand in hand. Being tactful and respectful, being fair and honest, behaving with dignity, those reminders are useful when we're acting on the behalf of someone or something else like the AHS. This is simply a reminder that our invitation is to come and apply our skills to the sections we've been assigned. Nothing else. And if we can remember to handle ourselves tactfully, respectfully, the whole show experience is greater for everyone involved. Some last points on ethics. The panel chairman. They simply keep things moving. They assure that the awards and the hole punches on the entry cards are are being placed and executed correctly. They are the individual judge on your panel that will summon clerks when they're needed. A panel chairman simply leads. It does not dominate. It does not dictate what the score is. So if you're ever asked to be a panel chairman, you might be asked to do things like decide which section you're going to next, or you're leading the discussion. You're encouraging junior judges to speak, to verbalize how they're judging particular cultivars. And the panel chairman has a responsibility to make sure that AHS rules are being followed as well, that point scoring activity is happening when it is required, that post-it notes on the entry tags are being used, and that the ribbons and the hole punches are happening as needed. We mentioned this a little bit on the last slide about your particular feelings about a form of daylilies. You should endeavor to withhold your prejudices at all times when acting as an AHS judge. That includes going to lunch with the show staff. That includes the morning of when you're having donuts and you're receiving your judge's briefing. We should not know that you do not like yellow daylilies or you do not like cultivars introduced by a particular person. Those kinds of personal opinions have no place on panels at an exhibition show. Judges are never to touch a specimen. Don't turn the entry. Don't pick the entry up to look underneath it. This is the job of the clerk. Remember that word, perception. Please refrain from expressing criticism of people or organizations. We have open forums. We have email robins. We have lots of avenues for you to express both positive and negative criticism. It does not belong at the show. Thank you for your attention over the last few minutes. I hope that you found this training a real investment in your ability to enjoy the show and be more successful as an exhibitor and as a judge. Don't forget there are 2 more videos in this series. The next video will cover judging standards, organization, rules, and accreditation. Thanks again and enjoy the show.